Alright, so what we need to do now is create the rest of our views because we have no about page or services or anything like that. Alright, so we pretty much need to do exactly what we did with main.html. We put just the content for that page into, basically, we created a controller and a route for it. And then it got inserted into this ngView directive, alright, when clicked on. So let's go ahead and just create a couple more files here. So we'll create about.html. We need services, and we need contact. What we need to do now is bring in these templates content. Alright, so I'm going to go back to my text editor here where we have all of the HTML files, and let's go ahead and get the about. So we're going to want to get just the inner content, okay? None of the template up here, not the nav bar or anything like that. That's already included in index.html. So we just want basically the heading and then the content, the paragraphs. Okay, so we'll paste that into about. Alright, and we'll do the same thing for services. Okay, again, you just want the heading, and then in this case we want the rows which have the services in these rows. Okay, so we'll paste that in here. And then we have contact. Okay, for contact we just want this heading, and then we want the different locations. Okay, so now that we have that, we can go to script.js, and what we need to do is we need to add more routes. Alright, so we want to get from when, we'll get from when down to here. Actually, no, down to this dot. That represents one route. So we'll copy that, and then we're going to paste another one here, like that. And let's see, we'll change this to about. Now the about page isn't going to have its own controller because we're not really using any dynamic content or anything like that. So we do need to change the template URL to about, but I'm just going to leave the main controller. That's fine. Now for this one, this is going to be services, and it's going to go to services HTML, and it's going to have its own controller as well. So services CTRL. And then we have the contact. Okay, contact page, we're going to bring in some locations from a JSON file. So I'm actually going to give that its own controller as well. So we'll have not control, contact. Alright, so those are our routes. So let's save that. And I don't know if this is going to work yet. Okay. So it's showing us the about content, but it's not embedded into the index page for some reason. Services is, however. Okay, we got services, and oh, no, it's not embedded. We don't have the menu. So let's go down here and let's create the controllers. So we can get rid of this stuff here, and basically I'm just going to copy this. Okay, and just add these controllers like that. Alright, so this is the main controller. Then we're going to have the services. And contact. Now these aren't working because we don't have the correct links here. So you want to be in index.html, And for the menu right here, we want, for this one, is going to be about. You don't need the HTML extension on the end of it. Okay, so this one will be services. This one will be contact. All right, so now you can see that it's opening these pages right inside of our index page. All right, so we have the templates, we have all the static content in the templates. What we need to do next is be able to fetch these from a JSON file. So let's create the services JSON file. Okay, we can do that right here. Alright, so we're going to put some valid JSON code in here. We need some brackets. Alright, and then we're going to have an object. Okay, these are going to represent services, so we're going to have an ID. Okay, and this particular service will have an ID of 1. It's going to have a name. Okay, for the name, let's say hardware repair. I'm going to stop this. The blinking is really annoying. Alright, so hardware repair, and then we're going to have a description. And I'm just going to paste the description in. Just give me 1 sec. Alright, so just a bunch of text. Make sure you have your quotes around it. And we want a comma back here. Whoop. Alright, so that's the description. And then, what do we want? We want an image. Alright, now you can make this image anything you want. I'm just going to use the computer icon that we've been using. .png, just the file name. And that's it for the first one, for the first entry. Okay, so we want a comma here. And let's just copy this. Okay, we'll do three services. Okay, this one will be virus removal. Alright, and that's going to have the ID of 2. And we'll just leave the same description and image. And then this one is going to be 3. And this will be system tune-up. Okay, we'll leave the rest. So that's it. That should be valid. So let's go back to our script file. So what we need to do here is, in the services controller, we need to make an HTTP GET request to that services JSON file. Alright, and to do that we can use the HTTP service, which we need to just include in here. And we also want to claim it here and inject it into this controller, just like we did with the scope. Alright, so we're just going to stick in HTTP, and then we can use it. Alright, so we're going to say http.get, and what we want to get is services.json, and we need to say .then, and we need a callback. So function. Alright, and that function is going to take a response. And let's try and console.log response. Okay, so let's pull the Chrome tools up and services. And here it is right here. This is the response object. You can see it has a status of 200, which is good. And then if we click on that, we can get the data. And you can see here we have our service with all the fields that we created. All right, now if we console log response.data, then if we go down, you can see that we get the data here. All right, and that's what we want. We want to pass that into our view so that we can loop through it and display the services. All right, so to do that, we're going to create a scope variable. Okay, so we'll say scope dot services is going to be equal to response dot data. All right, and that should make it available for us in the services view. All right, so now we need to go to services HTML. Let me bring all this back. All right, now we have just 3 static services here. So I'm going to take out, I just want to keep one of the rows, and then I'll get rid of this and this. All right, and then what we need to do, we need to use the ng repeat directive. Okay, that's how we can loop through things. So we need a container here. It can be anything, but we're going to make it a div, and we're going to give it the directive of ng-repeat, and we want to set that to what we want to loop through. In this case, we want to get a service in services. All right, and then the ending div, we just want to place that down here at the end. All right, so a little indent here. All right, now this services, that pertains to the scope.services that we set equal to the response data. All right, now we can loop through, and we want to replace these static fields with what are called expressions. All right, now expressions need to be wrapped in double curly braces, and since we're in the loop of services, we can use service and then whatever field. In this case, we want the name. And if we scroll down, actually we need to go to services, and you can see that these names here are actually coming from the JSON file. Wait a minute, what is this? Oh, we get 2 H3s here. All right, so let's test this out and go in the JSON file and change this to hardware repairs. And now services, and we get hardware repairs. All right, so that is how you can make a simple GET request to whatever, whether it's an API or just a JSON file like this. It works pretty much the same way. So let's make the rest of those services fields dynamic. Okay, so we want the description here. Okay, so service dot description, and what else? The image. Okay, so this image name, services dot image, and that should be it. That should be good. All right, so the images, something's up with that. Services dot image, it should show. Computer icon PNG. Let me just see what it's putting out. So let's see, image. Let's see, 2. So it looks like we just have a blank image tag. Oh, I know why. When we're dealing with images, the source, something messes up with the source tags, so we need to use ng source, okay, which is a special directive. And there you can see, whoops, that's not it. That's the home page. Oh, it's still not there. Image ng source. Oh, I put services. This should be just service. And there we go. Yep, there we go. So that's the services page. That's all set. All right, now what I want to do is the same thing with the contact page and the location. So let's create a new file called locations.json. And I'm just going to paste this in. It's the same type of thing that we did with services. Every location has an ID, a name, street, city, state, zip, and phone number. All right, so we want that saved, and then go to contact.html. All right, and let's get rid of these two locations, and we'll use this one in our loop. Okay, so let's see. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do div ng repeat and set that to location in locations. All right, and we just want to grab that ending div, put that down here. All right, now we'll save that, and we have to go back to script.js, and we just need to make a request here as well. So I'm going to copy this. All right, and be sure to put your HTTP in right here. And actually that should be in quotes. And we also need it here. All right, so we want to make a GET request to locations. Locations.json, and then we're going to set this to scope.locations. All right, and for the main page or the home page, we also list the services. So I'm going to do the same thing there that I did here. There's no sense in having static fields, services for the home page when we have the dynamic for the services page. All right, so that looks good. I think that about does it for the scripts file. So now if we go to contact, we should now be able to put in the dynamic fields. So right here, we should be able to do location.name. Okay, and go to contact. All right, something's not working right. Let's check this again. Oh, we didn't put our HTTP in here. You guys probably saw that. All right, so locations, I'm sorry, contact. All right, so you can see it's giving us the 3 locations, but only the name is dynamic. So we need to change the rest of these. Okay, so this one will be location dot street address. And let's see, we're going to just put a few in here. So we need the city, location.city. Okay, this one, location.state, and then we need the zip. Location.zip, and then the phone number. Okay, so now if we check out contact, now you can see that all the addresses are different, and we're fetching everything from the JSON file. All right, last thing, the home page, we're going to make these services dynamic. So let's go to main HTML and let's cut out, let's see, we'll do these two columns. And then we just want to wrap this one in ng repeat directive. So div ng repeat. Okay, I'm going to say service in services. All right, and then we can just change this. Okay, we'll change that to service.name, and then the description. All right, so home, and there we go. We have the services. So that's all dynamic now. Now this is a very, very simple application. We don't have any file structure or anything. What I wanted you to pay most attention to is like the directives, how to loop with ng repeat, expressions, how to insert the dynamic content, and then we have our controllers here and the HTTP GET service so that we can make GET requests. Scope, okay, scope. You'll always have access to the scope variables through this controller using expressions. All right, and then the routes. You want to use this syntax when and then the route, and then you want to assign the view and the controller. All right, so those are the most important things I think in this lesson. So now that we have a good foundation, we can start to make more complicated applications. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you in the next one.